without putting anybody on the spot, I'm gonna ask for a designated captain. That's, get your hat for me. Yes, sir. Is that on? Did you turn it on? Okay, designated captain. This is a reality show, by the way.
Oh wow, that's a good shot.
For the opening session, everyone has 3 minutes for the opening. And you don't have to take the roll, 30. Okay. Mr. Johnson, by the way, folks, so we're fair. Mr. Johnson is our timekeeper. He will start the time, and at 10 seconds, he'll give you one bell. And after that, he'll give you 2 bells. That means stop.
Oh, yeah.
It does not mean I have to come out and take the mic from you, okay? Who has one?
I didn't have any of this stuff. My radio station was just like, oh yeah, just do it. I'm like, listen, we need this much. So check it out. Now we got this. So you are you put on which camera?
It's a recording program.
This is called a MEVO. It costs about $700, $300 if you just want to get the bass unit. And I can set up to this many static shots. So I can go back to the crowd. Where did you put it?
Hey, brother.
It's under his camera. It's 160-degree lens. Okay.
When you ready, Mike? All right.
$700.
Good to see all the people from Lane City. How y'all doing?
Give me your number.
Y'all should feel encouraged. How do you
Yeah,
feel
do you have a
today?
pen or well, I can just put in your cell phone, I guess.
It's a blessing to be amongst the living. Blessing to be here in Lane City on this day. It's better than any other day. The reason I say it's better than any other day because today, it's a day of opportunities. You have an opportunity to ask questions of people that are looking for your trust. It's a day where you get the chance to ask any question that you deem necessary to judge who will carry the city forward. We have, of course, my friends, my colleagues, my partners in arms, George, who's followed along in the path that we all basically share to help Lane City grow. You got Jeffrey behind me, who's a new, fresh blood, willing to put up a fight when needs be, but gracious enough to understand not everything deserves a fight. Then you have individuals that are new to the game, who want to come to the table bringing, as they say, business acumen. Last time I checked, they have no business here in the city. The reality is our city is comprised of residents. The majority of us reside here, looking to prosper here. Not by the money that we make here to take it to someplace else so you can prosper somewhere else. Atlantic City deserves to keep all its funds so we can benefit, so we can grow. The state itself has been a pariah, a leech sucking up all the resources we possibly can from us to take it away to make other communities padded and comfortable. And that's the same mantra the resident Republicans seem to like to do. Take from us and take it home to make themselves comfortable. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it. The reality is that if you work a good day's work, you deserve to get a good day's pay. And too often, this city, being a city of hardworking people, have been treated less than, being disrespected, being treated so poorly that it basically reminds you what type of a citizen they think you are. I know you deserve better. You deserve so much better. If your hard work paid for buildings and properties to be here, you deserve better. If you're in here at least 9-10 hours of your day working diligently to try to provide, you deserve better. You deserve better because it's the Atlantic City way of doing things. We take care of one another. We don't like to talk a talk, we walk a walk. We're too busy doing work than taking photos ops, talking about the work that someone else has done. I'm uncomfortable about that nonsense. So, I'm Mo Delgado. I'm the first up to bat, and I'm ready to fight for AC. Y'all ready to go with me?
Hello everyone, and thanks so much for coming out tonight. I'm Stacy Kammerman. My family has been in Atlantic City for 4 generations. My great-grandfather was a merchant marine that built boats in Buffalo Park. My grandfather had a couple of businesses on Atlantic Avenue in the 1950s. And then in the 1940s, my grandmother was the star ice skater for the Ice Capades. So I obviously have a lot of history in Atlantic City. My mom grew up in Busby Village. She had me when she was just a teenager, so I was raised by a single teenage mother in Atlantic City. I started working very young. I worked in the casino, so I was part of Local 54. Then I put myself through college as I was raising 3 children on my own. I graduated from Stockton University, and I became a teacher. I was a Spanish teacher, so I am fluent in Spanish. I also started a company that teaches English as a second language and Spanish for the workplace. So I help people to learn the language they need so that they can get a job or they can work in, they can get promoted in the job in which they work. I also run Cameraman's Marina, which has been in my husband's family for close to 60 years. I had to start running this business a few years ago because unfortunately it was on the verge of bankruptcy. And today it is doing well and we are profitable. I also just recently opened up a 100% woman-owned business in the city because I believe, thank you, I believe in the future of Atlantic City and I believe in the leadership of Mayor Guardian. I am also the only woman running in this election. There are no other women on council. There hasn't been another woman in many, many years. And today, and hopefully on November 7th, we can finally give women a voice in City Hall. And I'd just like to address what my opponent had mentioned earlier, that businesses don't, we're looking out, don't look out for people. My business hires Atlantic City residents. My business brings in more people, and all my businesses actually are in Atlantic City, so I'm not sure why he mentioned that. I live down the end of Massachusetts Avenue, and I live and work in this city. I am completely invested in making a difference. I am passionate about making a difference for the people in Atlantic City. If I thought that our councilmen were doing such a great job in their 8 years and 12 years, I wouldn't be here. I want to make a difference for you and for our families in Atlantic City and for the future of Atlantic City. Thank you. Please do vote Colin B.
Excuse me 1 second. Right before we started, our moderator came in, Pastor Willie Francois from Mount Zion Baptist Church, and we have to appreciate him because he was at a meeting all the way up in Williamstown and raced down here to be our moderator. So I would like you to thank him for that.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the NAACP for hosting us tonight. My name is Ron Bailey. I'm running on Mayor Don Guardian's ticket for council at large. Just a little bit about myself. I currently work as an emergency medical technician. I've been doing that for the last 14 years. I got involved in the community 21 years ago at the age of 11, doing anti-drug marches in my neighborhood, trying to clean up my neighborhood so that drug dealers and gangs weren't running through the neighborhood. At age 12, I joined the American Red Cross and their emergency response team, responding to emergencies at all hours of the night, all weather conditions, and any time that they needed my assistance. That is what I'm looking to bring to council, being available 24/7 to the residents and making sure that I'm there to help you in your time of need. I've received several awards for my volunteerism at a young age. I was received an award for Distinguished Citizenship from the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement, the Chelsea Neighborhood Association, and also from the American Red Cross for volunteering. I've also received several life-saving awards and several unit citation awards. I have a lot to bring to the table, a lot of fresh ideas, and I think it's time that we need to have a change on council with young blood who's ready to bring a change and make sure that we're working for you, the residents. So on November 7th, I humbly ask for your support to vote Colin B, Team Guardian, Ron Bailey, Stacey Camerman, and Paul Tonacci. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Tonacci. I know many faces in this room. There's some faces I haven't seen before. Thank you so much, NAACP, for letting us speak, us candidates, both councilmen at large and mayoral candidates, share ideas here with the voting population of Atlantic City. I moved here a few years ago to open up a business because I believed in Atlantic City. I've also always believed to be the change that you want to see around you. It's informed every single decision I've made in my adult life, and it's what brought me here to Atlantic City. Seeing opportunity, seeing chance, seeing hope. That's what I still believe in Atlantic City. What I certainly believe is that hope came about from Mayor Don Guardian. He brought hope in more ways than just being a mayor, just serving the mayoral duties. He was an ambassador. People wanted to come open up businesses in Atlantic City because they saw Mayor Don Guardian as a force for good, just like I do. Now, I'm here in front of everyone today because I want to be, in the capacity of a councilman at large, a very similar force for good. It's what brought me here, trying to be the change I want to see around me, to serve on such boards as the U.S. Congressional Wine Caucus, where I had meetings with people like Frank Lobiondo, our congressman, and others to go discuss ideas that would help the tourism of South Jersey. It's what brought me to serve in groups as board members like Visit South Jersey, another group that tries to bring people to Atlantic City and other parts of this region of our state. It's also what brought me to open up an award-winning restaurant and liquor store here in Atlantic City. It's what brought me to serve on civic groups like the Hispanic Leadership Association of New Jersey, where we celebrate Hispanic culture. We award scholarships to students as they go off to college here in South Jersey, trying to retain the future of this area here in Atlantic City, seeing that there's great education to be had, much like Stockton, Rowan, ACCC. All these are great institutions that we're so happy to have here in Atlantic City. Now, I did move here, and so I like to refer to Atlantic City as my adopted city, but I don't take that word particularly lightly. I was born in Chile, in South America, and having been raised for 4 months, being adopted into a household that gave me everything is informs so much of my decisions, because seeing the gift of opportunity that I was given, it is now time for me to return that. Because when much is given, much is expected. And that's why I'm here in front of you today. I hope to be your next councilman at large. I hope to get the support of people from the ideas they share with you, because there's not a single fiber in my being does not intrinsically want this city to be a better place for everyone. Councilman at large, you represent the whole city. I want to represent everyone. Some of you may not be in support of me, but I want to work for you still. Thank you so much, and I look forward to sharing my ideas.
Hi, I'm Councilman George Tibbet. I've been your councilman for the last 11 years. A lifetime resident of Atlantic City. Our family was one of the very first settlers. I'm the grandson of Catherine Farley. Everybody knows the Farleys. I'm a proud union member for 32 years, a local 30, and where I was superintendent of John Sykes Company, where I want to recognize all my union brothers and sisters out there tonight. Thank you for coming. You can see they all work for me, Paul. There's no make-believe company. My business agents are out there. They claim I didn't hire nobody. When I see all these people that I've hired over the years through John Sykes and through my own company, I've given back to the city. When times were tough, I didn't leave for another town. I didn't raise my kid in another town and put them in those schools. My kids went to school here. My granddaughter goes to school here. I stayed here when times were tough. I didn't make money in Atlantic City and take those dollars out to nearby towns to take advantage of those towns where they were quieter and things weren't as bad. You see this. I see two of my opponents tonight that have less than 3 years living in Atlantic City. My granddaughter has more time living here than they do. But I'm going to tell you what's great for the city. They don't even know about our city. They don't know nothing about our city. They've been gone. If you're going to participate in the schools and have the schools get better, it all starts with family participation, the parents. You can't have your kids go to other schools in other towns and expect good things from your schools. You got to participate here. You can't come here and make king salaries and leave town with that money. Over the years, at John Sykes Company, I got many awards for hiring Atlantic City people, minority, female participations, where we were top on all the programs out there. I can't remember being a low bid on a job, but because of our female and male minority participation, I always got the jobs. If anybody has any questions about my make-believe company, my business agents are out there, my business managers are out there, and a lot of my employees are out there. I look forward to answering your questions.
Dr. King once said, "The problem with our country is not the vitriolic words and the evil deeds of the bad people, but rather the appalling silence and the great indifference of the good people." And he wasn't speaking to the people at the Atlanta Civic Association meeting in 1968. He was speaking to everybody in this room today. Because we have 17,000 people each election cycle in a general election that choose not to vote in our city. 17,000. Out of 23,000 people, you have 6,000 people that vote in a general election. That's horrible. We have many good people. The silence of the good people has to change. My name is Tom Forkin. I'm running as an independent in column C for change. Something has to change in Atlantic City because it's not working. I worked with Mike Johnson and Linda Steele and the NAACP to develop a civil rights lawsuit. It passed the local level, it went on to the state level, it passed the state level, it went to national. We met with the national attorneys at Jethro Presbyterian Church, and they liked the suit, but we did not have the revenue source to pay the outside counsel. There is a real civil rights issue in Atlantic City. Our seniors are getting taxed out of their homes. Our children had all of their programs cut from the schools, and there is no sense of outrage. I'm running because I have a sense of outrage, and I think I know that our city needs better. I have the plan, and I love the people up here. There are good people running for office. However, this isn't a popularity contest, it's a job interview. I'm Mayor Whalen's former city solicitor. I'm the president and chairman of the ABC board. I'm a former arts commissioner. I won the Hometown Hero Award in 2015, Mo was kind enough, to give me that award back then for my public service. I ran truckloads of relief supplies from Western Pennsylvania during Hurricane Sandy to the Atlantic City Public Schools and received a civic award from the Atlantic City Teachers United and a Teacher of the Year award in 2013. I would respectfully submit that I'm the most qualified person up here to be elected for City Council. And I'm respectfully requesting your support. Atlantic City needs better, they need plans. I have my plan set forth at forkin4ac.com. I also have Forkin4AC on social media, detailing the plans. We need plans, and we need execution of those plans, and we need it soon. We need to get the state out of our back pockets. We need to challenge them in federal court. I have the federal action to do it, and we need to do it. I need the resources to do it, and we need to come together as a community and make that happen. Thank you very much. I'm asking for your support on November 7th. God bless.
How's everyone doing tonight? It's getting a little boring, right? My name is Jeffrey Fauntleroy, and I'm running for council at large under the Frank Gilliam ticket, along with Mo Delgado and George Tibbet. I'm a lifelong resident. I didn't just move here 3 years ago. I'm born and raised here. My mother and father were both police officers in Atlantic City, and I love Atlantic City. I think it's a great place. I grew up in a time when Atlantic City flourished. Recreation programs flourished. Our kids actually were not on the streets, and they actually had something to do. I think it's time to bring those things back. I think that I am the change I wanted to see, and that's why I ran for council at large. I think we have an opportunity of a lifetime in Atlantic City to progress in Atlantic City like it's never been done before. Casinos are old news at this point. You have places like Stockton coming in. I think it's a great thing for Atlantic City to have high school kids go to the high school and be able to see a college in your town is one of the most amazing things you can have in Atlantic City. So I'm proud that Stockton's actually coming here. But I think it is time for a change. And I believe I am the change that I wanted to see in this. You know, running for council at large, it was not easy for me to pick a great team. And I think I picked a great team. With Frank Gilliam as our mayor, with George Tibbet being re-elected and Mo Delgado being re-elected, I think it's going to be a great time in Atlantic City. So be excited, because November 7th is going to be a great day for Atlantic City, because this one is for us. So believe that. My name is Jeffrey Fauntleroy, and I'm running for council at large.
Now I'm going to address a few questions to our candidates. These questions, as has been said, have been given to us by the voting public, and so I'm going to ask each candidate to respectfully answer each question, because these questions come from the very people whose votes you are trying to earn today. And let's be as explicit and detailed as possible, because you only have 90 seconds to answer each question. 90 seconds to answer each question. So here's the first question. If elected to City Council, now I'm addressing this first to Mr. Tibbet. If elected to City Council, how do you plan on adjusting the budget to incorporate our youth? Please, no general answers along party lines, and be as detailed as possible.
That's simple. Put the money back in the budget that you took from the kids. The kids are running around the streets right now. Half the programs that we have are closed. I just found out you got to pay to get into PAL. It's a city building. Why is anybody paying to have a membership at PAL? It should be free. Got to put that money back in that we took. There's other places to cut. One of the first things I'm going to do is there's a lot of donation dollars out there in the community where I know of 70,000 right now. 70,000 right now that goes to the Police Foundation. Why? That was money that used to go to PAL, Boys and Girls Club, all the different organizations out there. I'm getting word from them that the money isn't trickling down. Our ex-chiefs convinced the Irish pub to give 30,000 to them and that they would divert it to all these organizations. They're coming to us saying they're not getting it. So we have to attack the businesses for those donation dollars, get them back to the youth programs, like the exclusive drill team that just got put out on the street, because there's no donation dollars out there because they're being competed with a bunch of rich guys that take their paychecks offshore every day. So that's what I would do, put the money right back in the budget. Matter of fact, Frank will put that money back in the budget. It's not something we're going to ask him. Frank believes in children's programs and getting them back together.
One of the areas I know needs to be cut is the fact that these directors make exorbitant amount of salaries. So we're going to take them back to where they're supposed to be. Instead of making $100,000, $140,000, $150,000 a year, take them back to the ordinance and suggest they should be making $90,000, if not a little bit more. Or a little less, because we're hurting. Because too often other people in different unions have asked to cut their salaries. Why is it the fact that these individuals have yet to cut their salaries? So let's cut their salaries, put that in the pool, put it back in recreation. In addition to making sure our eyes are on the prize. Right now, you have the federal HUD getting attacked by the Republican Party, taking monies away from housing and the CDBG funds. CDBG funds are funds that are supposed to be administered into the community to help with community programs. The programs like Exclusive, that was cut short politically, that was cut and destroyed basically for political gain, and other organizations out here who should be granted the opportunity through CDBG funds. But the Republican Party and local supporters are not standing up for that fact. So we have funds around. Let's not play. We've got too many law firms, too many surveyors, getting paid tons of money from the budget to do what? Answer what questions? Come to what conclusion? That what? All we have is a bill. So let's cut those bills, cut that fat, put it back in recreation, CDBG out.
I think that you put the $2.7 million back in the budget that Don Guardian actually took out of the budget for our kids. Our kids are suffering, but you have great programs out here like Exclusive, like Princess Inc., who mentors young black women and sends them to college. You have great organizations out here. I think it's time to start partnering with those organizations and those people that are actually in our community, doing the work in our community every day. It's a great time for Atlantic City, but the residents suffer. And it's time to build the residents back up. It's time to uplift our youth. It's time to start doing what we need to do for Atlantic City. Atlantic City Dolphins don't even have the transportation to get to and from the football games. What is that about? It's time to start taking care of Atlantic City. And on November 7th, it starts.
important to keep in mind that the people that are blaming other people for why we don't have any programs for our children have been on council for 8 and 12 years. What have they done for your children? That is the question you should be asking them. They have the power to do things. I'll give you a perfect example. About a year ago, I started a program. It's a working group that we are creating a community fund. So in South Jersey, they have $20 million in their fund. And the way it works is that we have Atlantic City residents on a board. Everyone in the city, and even outside of the city, can donate money to our fund. And then the money is distributed to our residents. For example, LaToya's program, which I think is amazing and wonderful, and I think we need more things like that in our city. And the way we can fund it is through things like this, through the community fund. So what I'm proposing to you is that the opponents are saying all the things that are wrong with the city. And I'm saying to you, they had plenty of time to do something about it. Why would you give them another term to do nothing? And as a mother and a former teacher, I will make sure that our children are taken care of, and I will do the things like I've already done, and I'm not even a councilwoman, to make sure that we have every opportunity given to our children. Thank you.
I don't think
think that there's a single person up here on either side of the aisle that would disagree that we need to go make sure that the kids, being the future of Atlantic City, have programs, have money, have support from the community, from City Hall, from grants that are available out there, that we could get some of this money from the county, from the state, from the federal government that can subsidize many of the important programs that will keep the children off the street engaged and developing themselves. I know of these grants. I'm taking a course presently in grant writing. I hope to complete with the selection behind me. But just to know the process itself, I've not waited to be elected to go find solutions for the youth programs. I've been working with the Police Athletic League to go address the need for many of the children in the city that look to go play soccer. And they're part of different leagues that basically have such shoestring budgets that they can not even exist from week to week. And their play is sporadic, and they don't have refs, and they need soccer goals. I worked with the executive director of the Police Athletic League to relocate a couple of goals that were not being used behind the skate zone off Albany Avenue, put them in the Chelsea Heights neighborhood so that there would be 2 more goals, allowing one of these leagues to go participate in the tournament later that same month, just because they'd be able to have a couple more fields to use. So not wasting any time trying to find programs for the youth is not lost on this ticket. Stacy actually mentioned something I would like to expand upon a bit later, but youth programs, very important to go consider, and we have a lot of ideas. We just need to get your support to get elected. Thank you.
So just to answer the question, obviously we do have to look at the budget and see if there's any areas that we can find money to give out to these programs. The second thing is I researched this a little bit. I went to Absecon and spoke to one of their council members, and I spoke to one of the Galloway council members the other night at the MBCA awards dinner. Their cities only have 10% input in their sports and recreation programs. Those cities maintain the fields and provide the fields and recreation centers for the children, and the parents volunteer their time to make sure that the programs are running smooth. That is something we need to do here in Atlantic City, because growing up, those are the programs that were available to me. Whether it was through the PAL building, or it was through EHT PAL, where they worked with the police department to make sure that we had programs for our youth that were available to all the youth, no matter what their age were, that we were making sure that we were working with the kids to keep them off the streets and engaged in their community. So that's what I would do to make sure we were correcting what's going on here in Atlantic City with our youth programs.
Mo spoke about the CDBG money. When I was in the solicitor's office, and even afterwards, I wrote those types of grants for the services for Atlantic City to serve our residents. So the question is, how do we adjust the budget to serve our kids? You know, the middle schools cut out all of their middle school programs for our children. I went, and I was, way before I was thinking about running for office, I went and complained about it then. I complained about the state takeover of our public schools, and I said that that was a footprint for what's going to happen in the city, because they laid off 200 teachers and staff. That's got to stop. The state's got to go. The state's not going to leave. Everybody up here says, okay, well, we can shift some money around. Where are we going to get the money? The state is in control of city council in the city of Atlantic City. The state's in control. How do we get them out of here? They're not going to pull out of here after the new governor comes in. We have to challenge them in federal court. This isn't going to happen unless we file that civil rights and constitutional lawsuit in federal court. And I don't want to hear it can't be done until it's tried. There has to be a sense of outrage in this community. And our children are getting hurt. Our seniors are getting taxed out of their homes. And I want to know what the hell everybody's going to do about it on November 7th, because somebody's going to be held accountable. Thank you.
Mr. Foreman, you can keep the microphone for our next question. It is planned for the legalization of the adult use of cannabis in our state. It is on the table for that to transpire. I want to know, do you support the legalization of adult use of cannabis? Do you understand the economic and criminal justice implications of your support?
I absolutely support it. And I'll answer that question, and I'll answer why. My sister passed away this past summer from opioid abuse. Now, opioids are highly addictive, more so than the medicinal use or adult use of marijuana. Marijuana has been proven to be less addictive than alcohol and less damaging on your body. And if it's proposed, and I know it's proposed in the state of New Jersey, okay, in the state of New Jersey, Murphy wants to legalize marijuana. Well, if elected to city council in column C, I would propose, if they're going to do that, to possibly consider using Atlantic City as a test area and for us to keep 100% of the revenue that is coming from the tax of that cannabis sale. It's been highly profitable, very successful in Colorado and California, and I would support an ordinance in decriminalizing marijuana, similar to what they've done in Philadelphia, and then also taking it to the next level and possibly proposing Atlantic City as a test site for the legalization of marijuana in the state of New Jersey and keeping 100% of the tax in that regard. Thank you.
This question is about the legalization, we'll take it straight down, the legalization of adult use of cannabis. Do you support it, and what are the criminal justice and economic implications of your position?
So I would support the marijuana use for medical reasons. As far as recreational reasons for the public, I wouldn't support it because first things first, we have to get our opiate problem under control that's going on here in Atlantic City. We hear the residents complaining there's a problem with the drugs running rapid in our city, and that is something that we have to work on cleaning up our streets on first. We don't need to put another burden on our police department with legalizing marijuana and exposing our youth to that drug. That is what we have to think of. Are we going to want to expose our youth to marijuana at a young age? Or do we want to clean our streets of the opiates that are going on and then work to make sure that our streets remain clean and that our kids are in school, getting educated and staying off the streets and engaged in their community?
Right. Well, I believe that we should decriminalize the usage of marijuana. There's too many people that enter the judicial system, that go into jail and prison, and then they become indoctrinated by a culture of violence, and then they become any number of, they become radicalized, they're exposed to different things that they might not have been, had they not gotten in trouble for smoking marijuana. So I am in total favor of decriminalizing it. It's really important to recognize the fact that there's the opioid crisis that we're in the midst of. Atlantic City is really dealing with a lot of issues, which I believe strongly that the marijuana, if that were to be legalized, it would only compound it or exacerbate the situation that we still don't have control over. We have a needle exchange program where people are using that to their personal detriment, but for a quick fix. We could not safely and knowingly introduce a new legal drug without knowing the consequences. So just looking out for the children, for the future of the city, I want to explore every opportunity for a city to make revenue, but not at the expense of the health of our citizens. Because again, there's just too much at stake for a city such as ours when we're in the grips of an opioid crisis to even play with that thing. But my heart goes out to those that have these afflictions, that have diseases that marijuana can help them get through the day. Those are the people that need marijuana, and I want to make sure that they can get it. Thank you.
Yeah, I would legalize it. But no, I wouldn't legalize it.
Thank you. The first thing that I think about is, number one, if the governor and his legislature make marijuana legal in our state, I have no say over that. I don't determine that as a council person on city council. So we will have to abide by whatever the governor and his legislature decide. As a mother, I would be concerned about introducing another drug, making it legal. I know, my kids are all grown now, they're in their 20s, but I remember when they were in high school and college, parents would worry about the fact that they're underage drinking. So I don't think we need to add another thing that parents need to worry about that might hurt their children in any way. That we want our children to have every option to be successful in their life. So I can only speak to give you my opinion, because like I said, it wouldn't be up to me. But my opinion as a mother is I would be concerned and I would be very careful about making that decision. Thank you.
Absolutely. I support the legalization of marijuana. Absolutely. You have to look at...
Keep it real, Jeff!
They made Denver, Colorado to a tourist destination. Nobody ever wanted to go to Denver, Colorado. You know, you have to be responsible, just like alcohol and liquor. You have to be responsible. You know, you got to look at the tax revenue that they built that economy in Denver, Colorado. With everything, you have to be responsible now. You know, being a father, you have to be responsible. You don't want it around your children, keep it away from your children. It's that simple. I absolutely agree, and I absolutely support the legalization of marijuana.
We'd be foolish to give up that opportunity to make money beyond money as far as the industry is concerned. But let's talk the truth. We've had issues in our communities far longer than this opioid issue. This opioid issue is true. It's affecting a lot of people. But what's been affecting us is the hardship of poverty. Hardships of poverty. That's one of the solution causes to help people. Not just to sit up there and hold their hands and tell them, no, you shouldn't do drugs. You have to give them options. Recreation departments also provide options. Support programs in the community provide options. Some of the things that we do in Friends in Action provide options. Every year, every chance possible. Let's not talk about it, let's be about it. Now, marijuana is an option for us. And I think it's a good, viable option for revenue, for monies. But it's also a compassionate option for those with cancer, for long-term sicknesses and illnesses. So instead of funneling all these drugs, these opioids, to basically numb them and have them walking zombies, give them a chance to live a life the way they want to. Provide them the natural resource that they deserve. Give them a chance to do so. But at the same point in time, let's tack the hell out of these individuals that want to just go recreationally crazy and pump down and blaze up. You want to blaze up? You got to pay the money. And if you want to do it every year, you have a chance to make that money. Have that money support our recreation programs, our schooling, our police officers. Have all the resources that we can, supported by all these people that just want to blaze up. Now, you want to blaze up? You got to pay.
Absolutely, positively, yes. You see the medical benefits of it. Just yesterday, I was reading 2 stories in the New York Post where one, ex-commissioner of the NBA, David Stern, just came out in support of it and is encouraging the NBA to take it off the banned substance list. You look at those guys running back and forth down the court, taking a toll on their bodies. A lot of those doctors like to push opioids on them, and then they become drug addicts. You know, I feel like the NFL missed a major opportunity when Brett Favre was popping pills like Tic Tacs, and they hit it because they wouldn't let them do marijuana. Marijuana has a lot of great healing possibilities to it. Now, let's just look at our community. You look at the NFL right now, and you see how many African-American men are getting suspended for smoking marijuana. Now, there's a group of African-American NFL players that are preaching to the NFL that they need the marijuana because they don't want to touch the opioids and become drug addicts when they retire, like a lot of NFL guys do. And just today also, I was in another newspaper, in Miami Herald, where I saw a kid with 37 seizures a day. Now, it's not just smoking. There's mist, there's candies, there's lollipops, all the kind. And they gave this kid the mist, and they watched his seizures go down to 2 or 3 a day. And the seizure that he was currently having went away in 35 seconds. New York Post again today. Big Pharma, a guy is being charged with pushing opioids into the community. I wish we had more time to talk about it.
Thank you. Before we go to the next question, I do want to acknowledge that, of course,
according to the way the bill in its current form, each municipality will have the option of not ratifying the legalization of cannabis use to the point of making it a finable offense. So this body will have some say in how it affects Atlantic City. We'll start with you again, Mr. Tibbet. If your mayoral candidate tries to push an agenda that does not help the very people that he says he wants to help, will you stand up against him?
Absolutely, positively, yes. Why would I support anybody that's going to hurt the people of Atlantic City? Frank's like family to me. You don't do what's good for the city, I'm done with you, Frank. Just like I'm done with you now, Don, for the bad
See what I'm saying, folks? See, too often we've been dumbed down and we believe we're supposed to be a certain breed of individual. Like we have to sing Kumbaya all the time and praise the options and the things that people do because we're supposed to be loyal. You're supposed to be loyal to the community. Frank and I know, there's been times him and I don't see the eye to eye, but there's a level of respect and brotherhood that we have that will have a discussion and come to a conclusion. That's how you're supposed to do. Have a conclusion. Come to bed. If we have to have a discussion, we will. Because I love the man like my brother. And I understand he's not perfect, neither am I. And we're going to be in situations where we have to discuss things. But the thing is, we have an opportunity to discuss things. Because he doesn't have a team of people and clowns behind him to say to support the community when obviously they truly don't. Now, if you have people endorsing people that don't care about the community and want to say that they care about the community, but looking for your help for the community, now who's to do it? It's time to kick them clowns out. We need Atlantic City first all week.
Can you ask me the question again?
Click note. If your mayoral candidate wins and it does not uphold the promises that he makes on the campaign trail, will you be able to stand up against him?
Absolutely. I'm my own man. And I ran because I believe in myself. Yeah. But Frank's going to be the mayor on November 7th. And communication is key. So we'll always be able to communicate with Frank. George Tibbet, Mo Delgado, and whoever else is on council. Those board seats is coming up, so y'all should be ready for those. We'll all be able to communicate. Atlantic City is about communication. But Frank's going to be the mayor on November 7th, and it's going to be a great day for Atlantic City.
I've said it before, and I need to say it again, I guess, because there are show horses and there are work horses. So we have had a show for a very long time. We have had a council that has been made into a circus. People don't even want to come to our council meetings anymore. They don't want to participate in the democratic option of coming in and voicing their opinion because the council are too busy arguing with each other, bickering with each other, and not working together. This council will, these council candidates, column B, will work together. We will also work with the other council members on council. Last debate, one of our opponents said that the rest of the council, because they don't agree with him, are idiots. We will find a way to work together. We will be always working together, unifying our council, because at the end of the day, that means that we are going to be working harder for you. Things are going to get done, unlike in the past. As far as Mayor Guardian, when he is mayor and we work together, we will always discuss things respectfully. I will always research all the information that's given to me, unlike the many council meetings I've been to, where my opponents do not research the information. So we will always work hard to make sure that we're making the best decision.
Thank you.
So there's no question that we, in column B, will be rebuilding Atlantic City, but it's because of our independence of thought that we are better as a team. We didn't all think alike, but that's great. Healthy democracies exist because we all think differently. We all have different backgrounds, different experiences, different trains of thought, and that's great when we can all come together and work with one another. But as Stacy said, the problem is presently, not only do people not want to come because it's a circus, it's a lot of talk, not a lot to do, but not only that, but then people don't want to come and then things don't get done. So the people that are supposed to be working for you are too busy trying to look really good in front of a camera and make some points and then drop the mic and then go sit behind the table. But the reality is that the best councilman at large candidates will be the ones that will listen to you, that will go and work with other councilmen tied to specific words. Stacy pointed something that just bears repeating. Someone here on this table did call the sitting councilmen clowns or idiots. No, you can play the team. So just let that sink in for a second. The people that want to work with everyone, want to work with you. If you have already cast your vote, I want to work with you. If you are here in the audience and you have some great ideas that you're just looking for the representation, I want to work for you. I want to represent you, and that's what column B does with Mayor Don Gardy at the top of that column. Thank you.
So I'd just like to start off by apologizing for our opponent's behavior up here tonight. So if we did have a disagreement with the mayor when he gets elected, like Stacy said, we'll sit down like a team. Our current council members that are running for re-election fail to understand what teamwork means. Just remember when the state takeover happened, they didn't stand up for you. They weren't in Trenton every day with the mayor. There was 5 councilmen that were. They weren't in Trenton. They weren't standing up for you. You need a team that's going to fight for you and work with the other 5 councilmen that aren't going to be sitting here when they call them idiots, like they did at the last debate. Councilmen that are going to work for you no matter what the issues are. Willing to sit down and hash out any issues that may arise. Because we're here to rebuild our city with the mayor, with our team, and with the other council sitting on council now.
Well, just being the independent up here, I guess nobody questions my independent thinking. I mean, I could work with either mayor candidate or any of the 4 mayor candidates. It's a different branch of government. I don't even see how people run. This is why, you know, it's a legislative branch. City council is a legislative branch of government. It's not the executive branch of government. It's a legislative branch of government, okay? I went to law school. I was a city solicitor. I developed ordinances and resolutions for city council to adopt, okay? We did land use variances and we wrote grants. It's the legislative branch of government. So our job is to basically or respectfully disagree with a mayor if they're not proper in what they're doing, but there should be a certain degree of professionalism and decorum, you know, that should be engaged. And you know, I'm not going to take shots at people or call it a circus or whatever. It is what we make it. Let's be professionals. Let's move our city forward. Stop the name calling. Stop the BS. Okay? And let's get the job done. Stay focused on the issues. And let's make the move against the state. People can say that they fought against the state, but nobody's been in federal court yet. That needs to happen. Okay? And I intend to get enough votes to win this election and make it happen for column C and change. Thank you.
Now we'll move into our summation statements, and we'll start with Brother Fauntleroy. Final statements, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Calm down. How's everybody doing tonight? It's a little crazy up here, right? It's the last one. It's 11 more days to November 7th. Most of you guys have chosen who you're going to vote for. It's about who you believe in. It's about who you've seen in this community doing the work that needs to be done around here. It's time to put our children first. It's time to put Atlantic City first. It's time to unite Atlantic City like it's never been united before. Don't worry about who endorsed who. It doesn't matter. What matters is November 7th. If you're worried about that, come out and vote. Don't boo, vote. Don't worry about those issues. Come out and vote. Atlantic City, this one's for us. We may not get another chance. November 7th is going to be a great day for Atlantic City. Be excited. Frank Gilliam's going to be the mayor. George Tibbetts going to be a council at large. Mo Delgado's going to be a council at large. And Jeffrey Foreman is going to be council at large. Don't worry about the nonsense. November 7th is going to be a great day for Atlantic City. Vote column A.